Hey, what's going on, beautiful people? Today, we're going to be talking about the hybrid athlete mindset. So, when most people think about hybrid athletes, they think about the training, right? The long runs, the heavy lifts, the intensity. And in reality, most of it is actually the mindset and perspective that you actually are going to have to build to be able to approach this training in the right way, to stay consistent, to train in a smart way for you to actually be able to build the level of fitness that you want over time. Okay, so pay attention to this mental framework on being a hybrid athlete, and you'll number one have more fun with your training. You'll be more consistent. You'll build a more sustainable approach and mindset as you go about your training and competing as your a hybrid athlete, and really just do things smart in the long run. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to focus on is the consistency over perfection. Okay, so this is really the foundation of hybrid success. And what gets a lot of people from being consistent is that they're trying to be perfect with all of their training, right? And the thing is, perfection is really unrealistic. And when you're trying to have the perfect training programs or the perfect workout, you're not going to be consistent because you'll opt to doing it, on another day. When in reality, the goal is not to run the perfect pace or hit the perfect workout or have the perfect macros. It's really about stacking day after day of solid work. And the person that ends up having 5 or 6 out of 10 days done consistently beats the person that has maybe 1 10 out of 10 days, followed by either injury or workout. And this is where hybrid athletes really separate themselves, is that they understand that it's really about consistency that drives the engine of fitness adaptation, and starting to build more love for the sport, which kind of goes back into enjoyment over forcing it. And so here's the thing: is a lot of people, they stay in the hybrid game mainly because they do training that they enjoy. So for example, let's say you hate running. Well, why are you running? Like, you should probably try, maybe, hey, let's say you like cycling, for example, right? So then combine cycling with lifting, right? Or let's say you like swimming as well. Like, hey, why don't you add some swimming as well? Like, why are you picking training modalities that you don't enjoy? Because in the beginning, right, we have to do things that we enjoy. Otherwise, why are we doing it? Okay, so try to do things that you enjoy. Structure your training in a way that you enjoy. Pick the training modalities that you want. And when you're doing something that you love, requires a lot less energy to muster up, to discipline yourself to sticking to it. And you want to do something that energizes you. Okay, and then the next thing is that we want to focus on sustainable progress over time, and making sure that the amount of progressive overload and volume and intensity in our training programs is sustainable, and that we can progressively increase those over time without actually getting injured or burning out. And this is key because a lot of people, let's say you're in the gym, right? They want to lift a certain amount of weight. If you're too anxious and trying to get there too fast, you'll most likely injure yourself or burn out. And the thing is, like, we need to be able to do our overall training in a way that gets us there slowly. Just be patient with your results and start to make slow progressive increases in, let's say, your overall volume of training, the intensity, how much load that you're putting on yourself. Okay, because you need to allow your nervous system to adapt, your tendons to adapt, your aerobic system. And you can't just microwave fitness. You need to over time let your body adapt to the stimulus that we're providing it. Okay, so that's one thing, is focusing on sustainable progressive overload. And then the next thing is, actually, we have to track everything, right? We can't just be doing things haphazardly, right? So how in the world are we going to be consistent and enjoy the process, and not and have a sustainable, progressive program, if we're not tracking things? Because otherwise, always be doing things haphazard. And so one thing that I like to do is, I like to use Strava as my source of truth and my centralized location for all of my training. Okay, so for example, I use the training log here. And what I really love about this is, it's a perfect location for me to look at, you know, all of my overall training volume across, you know, multiple weeks, across different months. I can see the different, you know, train races that I've done. And in my opinion, it's the best way to kind of organize and look back at your historic training and see, okay, what have I done previously and how can I plan my training for it in the future, right? So I highly recommend using the Strava training log if you aren't already using it. But more so in kind of planning out your training week, what I would actually do is go into have a Google Calendar and then like literally like write in like what training you want to do on each day, and you know actually put out the actual workout that you want to do, so you can kind of organize it there. And because it's on your Google Calendar, you're making a commitment to yourself to actually do the training there. Okay. And then when it comes to tracking your lifting workouts, I highly recommend the Heavy app. It's a very easy and simplistic app to use to track all of your reps and sets and look at your overall volume and the progressive overload that you're having in the gym. And in my opinion, it's actually one of the best, you know, lifting apps that I've ever used. It's very simple, and you can customize it and structure it in a way that you want. And what I really like about it is it actually syncs relatively easy into Strava. So, for example, here's an example of a lift that I did with Heavy. Right, it tracks all of your reps and sets. There's even some other ones where, let's see here. There's even some other ones where you know, it kind of shows you what the different you know, body parts that you're using. So they have like a really cool diagram here. Like, I just think this is really cool. So if you're into like a very simplistic lifting app, I highly recommend Heavy. And then even just when it comes to like tracking your you know, the actual, you know, workout you're doing yourself, either get a Garmin or an Apple Watch. Either or is fine. I mean, if you want to be like a serious like hybrid athlete, like Garmin I guess would be like the best one, but I mean either one is fine. I use both, right? I just ordered a Garmin that's coming in right now, and I currently use an Apple Watch, so either or is fine. And then the last thing for our hybrid athlete mindset is understanding this equation: stress plus recovery equals growth, right? And I made a big mistake in my athletic and training journey, is that I focus too much on the stress side and not enough on the recovery side. And obviously, you know, you have to do the training, you have to stress your body, you have to give your body a stimulus to actually grow in fitness, okay? And that's important. But the thing is, if you're ignoring the recovery side of things, your body won't be able to kind of take in that training and actually adapt to the new level of strength and endurance and the durability of your muscles and your tendons and your bones. So you have to recover just as much as you're stressing your body in training. And so, you know, for the amount of training and stress that you put on your body, you're going to have to combine it with an equivalent of proper sleep, nutrition, making sure that you're actually taking your easy days truly easy, right? Like actually run or train in a zone one or zone two training zone on your easy days. You know, don't always have to push it in like a gray zone of zone 3 or zone 4. Um, and then even realizing, hey, like sometimes just having a pure, just all out rest day is crucial sometimes, just to like just take a break, right? Let the body kind of take in the training. Okay. So that's the hybrid you know, athlete mindset. um, I'll say that having this kind of mindset and understanding these principles will take you very far in your overall training. So just to kind of recap it: consistency over perfection, enjoy the process, find ways to enjoy the training as much as possible. You know, structure your overall training in a sustainable and progressive way with your overall volume, intensity, and load. Track everything as much as possible. Utilize, you know, all the great technology that we have at our disposal now, and understand this equation and making sure that you're recovering as much as you're training and stressing your body, right? That's going to equal to the overall amount of growth that you can have. Okay, so I'll see you next time. Peace.